Would you believe me if I told you that Vitalik's mom is also in crypto and she has her own project? Well, it's absolutely true. Her name is Natalia Ameline and she's a key member of the up-and-coming project called Metis. But here's the thing, to me, her involvement was just a cherry on top. I was always sold and I bought their token before I discovered that. But even though I was bullish, I didn't want to cover them back then because they were too small and too early. And you know me, I'm not the type to be like, here's the 100x altcoin for you, to the moon. But that was then, and now is a totally different story. They're one of the fastest growing and most promising layer 2 projects out there. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know how bullish I am on layer 2s. So finally I decided to cover them, and today I want to share with you my strongest bull case about Metis. But first, what is Metis anyways? Well, in their own words, Metis is a quote, layer 2 rollup infrastructure to support the running of the Web3 economy. That just means they're a blockchain network that runs on top of Ethereum, and they support all your typical things like DAOs, DeFi, NFTs, etc. But since they are layer 2 and use rollup tech, they can support those use cases in a fast, cheap, and decentralized manner. They are not your run-of-the-mill Ethereum scaling project though. Their mission is much greater than that. They aim to, quote, create an easy-to-use technical and organizational platform, making blockchain accessible to everyone. That sounds pretty vague in general, but it actually makes a ton of sense if we look back to their origin story. They were originally creating something that makes it easier for distributed groups to work together. This is the whole idea of DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organizations. I freaking love DAOs and I think they are the future, but current implementations are a complete mess in terms of how they're governed, how everyone is managed, and there's like zero formal processes in place. That's why the Metis team saw an opportunity to build a framework and official protocol to govern these types of collaborations, which by the way they call DACs or DAC, which stands for Decentralized Autonomous Companies. But over time they realized they needed more than just a simple framework to best solve this problem. They needed an entire platform complete with their own blockchain, middleware layer, and DAC framework in order to offer the best end-to-end experience. So that's exactly what they did. They forked an optimistic rollup project called Optimism to create their own blockchain. They also created their own virtual machine and launched their Metis token. If we zoom out and look at their entire architecture, this is what it looks like now. It's quite the impressive platform that supports all sorts of Web3 use cases. So when people say that Metis is just another Optimism fork, I have to disagree because there is so much more than that. Their changes and additions to Optimism are a big reason why I'm bullish on them. But before we dive into that, a quick shout out to our video sponsors, Gather Network. They are a blockchain platform that does two main things. They allow website publishers to monetize without ads, and they provide businesses access to cheap cloud computing power. So how does this work? Well, when you visit a website that's integrated with Gather, you can opt in to share your extra processing power with their ecosystem. Through their marketplace, businesses and developers can buy that computing power to do whatever they need. And finally, both the end user and the website owner gets a cut of that payment and can earn money that way. So Gather Network is essentially trying to fix the internet's broken model by introducing this new way of monetizing. No more intrusive ads nor trackers for us end users. No more pay-per-view or pay-per-click models that makes publishers resort to clickbait. Instead, they can focus on creating a great experience that keeps us on their site for a long time so they can earn more. That sounds awesome to me, and they have a GTH token that powers everything. If you want to learn more, check them out, use my link down below. Alright, back to Metis and the reasons I'm bullish. The first reason is that there's so much more than just a fork of Optimism. Like Optimism has this huge pain point where you have to wait several days to withdraw your funds back to Ethereum. That's just how the optimistic rollup technology works in general. But Metis created a workaround by having these entities called Rangers to detect fraud, and that allows them to reduce withdrawal times down to hours or even minutes as a result. Metis also created a bunch of other features on top of their blockchain network. Like they let you store files on chain with IPFS, and Metis manages all of that for you. This is amazing for NFTs because now you can mint them on Metis and then bridge them over to Ethereum later. They also have this middleware layer that makes it easy to manage and deploy smart contracts. They plan on including low-code or even no-code capabilities so anyone can build apps on their platform. And finally, their specialized DAC framework can help people spin up decentralized companies easily. This framework goes beyond simple governance and voting. It helps you manage roles, permissions, HR, project management, payroll, and so much more. So it should be clear now that Metis did not just copy-paste a project and call it a day. They made several changes to improve the network performance, and they built other features on top to better serve end users. Now, my second reason to like Metis is that they're growing so freaking fast. Like, their total value locked is now top 3 of all layer 2 projects out there, and their TVL shot up over 17% in the past 7 days. This puts them just over Optimism, which was the original project they forked from. Now, this of course all depends on having solid projects in their ecosystem that people can use. And per their website, they have close to 20 DApps that are already live on their mainnet. 20 is not that much, but I expect that number to absolutely rocket over the coming weeks for 3 main reasons. First, because they just finished their hackathon that they hosted with Binance, and several quality projects should come out of that. Second, they have this builder mining program that shares a huge cut of the network fees with all DApps that are being used across their ecosystem. And third, they have a $100 million venture fund that invests in projects building on Metis. And the best part is that the fund is managed by Vitalik's mom. Beyond all that, I think an important reason why they grew so fast is because they have their own token, which definitely helps incentivize usage and adoption. And that leads me to my next bullish point, which is their token is freaking amazing. First of all, Metis has a bunch of utility. It's used for transaction fees, staking to run decentralized companies, and incentives for rangers to secure the network. Their token distribution is so friendly to the community as well. The entire team only gets 7% of the token supply, and early investors get around 15%. Over 50% is allocated for builders and the broader community, and that amount will be slowly released over the next 10 years. I just love it when a project's tokenomics are designed to benefit its community and not VCs/insiders. So with great utility and great distribution, what more can we ask for? Well, we could ask for a great team, and that's exactly what they have. The CEO of Metis, Elena Sinonikova, is a longtime friend of Vitalik's mom, and they actually co-founded a global nonprofit called Crypto Chicks together. People say that Elena and Natalia have deep ties to the Ethereum community, and even helped Aave grow in its early days. If that's true, then it's a huge advantage for them in terms of attracting existing projects into their ecosystem. There's also 2 other co-founders that I have not mentioned yet, and you can look them up if you want, but just know that they have a solid background in blockchain as well. And finally, my last reason to be bullish is their hardcore commitment to decentralization. Other blockchain projects are decentralized in name only, but Metis' blockchain was actually born out of a frustration with Optimism's approach to decentralization. The Metis founders also laid out an in-depth roadmap outlining their plan to decentralize the entire network. They specifically wrote that they are the initiators of the project, but ultimately, Metis will belong to the community. And to achieve that goal, they will do things like let anyone run a verifier node and let anyone join the sequencer pool. They'll even turn over control of their layer 1 smart contracts to the community DAO. So it really looks like they're walking the walk when it comes to decentralization. And I love that, because if not for decentralization, what are we even doing here? Now, I want to note that Metis has a lot of competition from other scaling projects, and with their ambitious plans, they have a lot to execute on as well. So even though I'm bullish, it's by no means a guarantee that they will succeed. They've started out strong, but we all know that it takes more than that to succeed in the crypto world. And just FYI, this video was not sponsored by Metis in any way. I just wanted to try out this new bullish case format to cover some lesser known projects that I'm excited about. I'm curious to hear if you like this format or just want me to stick to my old formats in the future. But in the meantime, watch this video to get even more bullish on layer 2 projects. Or watch this one if you want to clear up some huge misconceptions about Ethereum that I bet you didn't know. I'll see you on the next one, and cheers!